Hello friends, welcome. Friends, in this channel, my effort has always been to read between the lines and give you the exact story. Truth is always nuanced. Lies are always straightforward and simple. What my attempt has been in this channel to tell you the truth, which is nuanced, in as simple terms as possible. I don't know whether I have been successful, but that is what I am trying to do. So here, in this video, we are going to talk about deregulation of broadcasting sector. And this is an article which came out recently on 19th of March 2025. Now friends, broadcasting sector has been heavily regulated by the Ministry of Broadcasting as well as by TRAI. Ministry of Broadcasting has got their different set of rules and license fees that they impose on those broadcasters, and the TRAI has got tariff regulation which they are imposing on the broadcaster, because broadcasting is being defined as a telecommunication service which falls under the ambit of TRAI. Now, because broadcasting sector has been heavily regulated, and to the tune of that you go into the nitty-gritties rather than having an overarching light touch regulation, the whole sector has crumbled down and fallen apart, and there is another area which has emerged, right, which is not under any regulation, which is OTT. And because of that, when this whole thing was kind of in the process of unfolding, I wrote an article on 12th of October 2023 where I said that OTT is rendering traditional broadcasting regulation completely obsolete. So the purpose of this article is to say that the Ministry of INB and the TRAI both have been doing very hard touch regulation of broadcasting sector, in the process forgotten OTT, and they will soon realize that the whole sector that they are regulating will completely evaporate at some point of time, and there will be nothing left to regulate. That is what this essence of this article is. After that, I had wrote another article which is very recent, where I have explained that the great escape of OTT, that is how OTT escaped the regulation. That is a great escape. Who helped OTT to escape? Because when you are, let's say if you want to escape from a prison, there must be some kind of connivance, some kind of external factors, maybe your luck. So what this story actually gives you a sense that how OTT escaped regulation. And this is quite nuanced. This is not going to be straightforward, friends. And I have done a video, but I am repeating this video. It is because it is so important, and those people who are trying to understand regulation, they are in college or maybe trying to do masters in regulation, will understand that how to define regulation, how regulation is important. It may be more important than technology, because when you are regulating, you should have the vision to understand that whatever rules that you have framed on ground should scale forward in time. There should not be any exception because of any kind of technology or any kind of political or circumstantial reason where something will somehow circumvent your whole effort of regulation. That's why regulation also always have to be very simple, clear, and there has to be fundamentally defined in such a way that there is no way that it can be misinterpreted, okay, or somebody can circumvent the whole thing and making it completely hopeless and useless. Now let's talk, after having given you the preview, let's talk about this whole OTT great escape. It is like a Bollywood movie. Let me tell you this, it is so interesting, but it is very nuanced, okay. To understand this in a very simple manner, you can go through this article if you are interested. To understand this in a more simple manner, let's talk about what is the foundational thing that anybody should do when they are trying to regulate a particular entity. The foundational thing is definition of that entity. If you define that entity properly, then only you will be able to create all kinds of framework around it. If the entity is left undefined or improperly defined, then you will never be able to have a very watertight regulation that you want to impose, and then something will come which is basically going to circumvent it. This is exactly what happened with OTT and with the broadcasting sector. So there are two pieces of it. Let's talk about that. One is the TRAI's definition of television channel, which is part of their interconnect regulation. You know that TRAI has got various kind of tariff regulation, interconnect regulation, and the quality of service regulation. So in the interconnect regulation of 2017, they defined television channel as the following, right? TRAI said, television channel means a channel which has been granted permission for downlinking by the central government. Okay, this is the definition of TRAI. Under the policy guideline issued or amended by it from time to time, and reference to the term channel shall be constituted as reference to television channel. So this is a simple definition of TRAI, and you will understand that why this definition is faulty, right? But before I tell you why this definition is faulty, let's go to another definition, which is basically not a definition but was a downlinking guidelines. And this downlinking guidelines had a clause 5.6. That downlinking guidelines, along with this definition, became the foundation for regulating the broadcasting sector. And let me explain how. First of all, let's go to the downlinking guideline. This downlinking guideline says the applicant company shall provide satellite TV channels reception decoder only to, now this is very important. Applicant company means who wants to broadcast, or who the broadcaster, right? That is where this downlinking guidelines are for, right? Broadcasters who are downlinking their broadcasting channel, which is the applicant company, shall provide their decoders only, this is important, only to whom? MSOs, cable operators registered under the Cable Television Regulation Act, or a DTH operator registered under the DTH guidelines, or the Internet Protocol TV service providers duly permitted under the existing telecom licenses, or an HITS operator duly permitted under the policy guidelines, blah blah blah, by the Ministry of Broadcasting. Now, if there is another vertical which do not fall under these designated entities, then what happens? Will the broadcaster will be able to give this broadcasting signal to that entity, right? The question comes that OTT is not even mentioned here in this definition of downlinking guidelines. Then how the broadcasters have been sharing the OTT signal, their broadcasting signal to the OTT? Does it not sound very funny? And actually this is a paradox or a conflict, because the definition says very clearly you are not supposed to give your broadcasting signal to a OTT player, because OTT player does not fall under this definition or under this clause. So how are you giving? This is where the story starts, and that's how the broadcaster complained to TRAI that look, whatever is happening in the OTT sector is illegal, because they are not supposed to take because whenever a linear channel means conventional TV channel that you are able to see on your mobile phone, those TV channels are competing with the broadcasting channels that you see in your DTH or your widescreen TV and other things on cable television. So they are not supposed to give that to the OTT the carriers who are carrying the OTT channels, because this is not mentioned here. So TRAI asked the question to the broadcasters that look, how you are giving these channels to them, and broadcasters did not respond, and they went and waver, and finally after a lot of litigation they went to the court. TD said no, you have to give to TRAI. They kept wavering, and then finally one day suddenly Eureka happened. TRAI said that, oh, by the way, we are satisfied with the definition or response which the broadcaster has given, and therefore we don't consider that the OTT is a violation of the downlinking guidelines and the clause 5.6 of the guidelines, which says that the broadcasting signal should not be given to anybody else other than these entities. This is exactly what has happened, right? Because I can't really show you the details, otherwise the video will become very, very long. Now what happened? And what probably would have happened, and what probably these people, broadcaster, might have responded to TRAI. Broadcaster might have said that, look, we are not using the satellite medium to connect to the OTT delivery medium or the channels. We probably are using optical fiber cable. We are using ground-based system, 5G, because there are many other means now available. Satellite is not the only medium, right? So they must be using that. So when they're using that, it does not fall under this downlinking guidelines. So they are not in violation, because that sector is not even clearly under regulation. There are no ground-based downlinking guidelines or delivery guidelines which are currently there. for which you to look at, which you can say that you are not following that, so they are circumventing. This is exactly what I mentioned earlier. So the Ministry of Broadcasting realized that there is a problem. So they told TRAI very recently that you have to come out with the downlinking, the ground-based broadcasting guidelines, similar to what we have, the 5.6 guideline, which has changed now, the clause has changed. Similar to that, what should be the structure of the ground-based guidelines. So TRAI did all the effort and they came out with the recommendation. Now, in that recommendation, I don't know whether it was inadvertent or I don't know whether it was willfully or by design, I don't know. Almost similar structure is there. It may not be exactly similar, but there is no such clause recommended by TRAI with the word only. In the ground-based guideline, there is no word only. Okay, so this has been very conveniently removed, which basically means that OTT players are no longer, the broadcasters are no longer compelled to come under the, under the framework of regulation, because there was another wiggling room out from them, which they can very convenient follow, because the word only has now been taken away from the ground-based broadcasting guideline, right? So this led to a huge problem now. And that is why I say in this article, if you read this, it says by removing the word only, the recent GBD recommendation, TRAI has inadvertently created a loophole that allows the broadcaster to deliver content to OTT platforms, bypassing the traditional distribution entirely. So their defense was that since this is not a satellite-based downlinking guideline, blah blah, which did not apply. So same thing. Now, let's go back to the definition. This definition was the definition of channels in the TRAI Interconnect Regulation of 2017. Now, friends, why I am saying that our ability to visualize, when you are making regulation, you are doing a very important job, which is as important that somebody writing a machine learning software. Okay? Regulator's job is as important, sometimes more important. So, this definition of channels should have been corrected by TRAI. Because whenever you are transmitting information through various media, what you are interested in, let me ask you this, what you are interested in. Let's say if I am delivering a TV channel using a satellite television, DTH platform, or a cable television, or some other means, let's say OTT, what we are interested in? We are interested in the final output. That final output should look alike. Whether you are viewing through a DTH platform, whether you are viewing to a cable television platform or in a computer screen, everything should look alike. So the definition has to be robust enough to define the service in such a way that whether it is delivered under the under the satellite television channel or the cable path or the OTT path, that service could have been clearly defined and anchored, so that there is no ambiguity as per the delivery of that particular service on any platform whatsoever. It does not matter. So TRAI should have made the definition more robust. What went wrong? What went wrong is in digital platform, friends, we all know that we are talking about bitrate, frame rate, HD, 4K. These are all, we know that, because whenever you are watching Prime TV or Netflix, this is how they are pricing those services, right? If it's a 4K means you are able to watch in large screen. So TRAI should come out with a very clear, crisp definition of what constitutes a television channel when they really wanted to basically regulate OTT. If there are no definition, how can you regulate OTT? Then there could be a defense here. They could have said that, look, OTT is a best effort service. This DTS thing which is coming out is going to be a very clear, because nobody is sharing, you are not, open internet where your service is going to get somehow bottlenecked by somebody transmitting along the same path. You will be stalled. It will be a best effort. No, nothing like it. It is single path, it's broadcasting and you receive the channel. Similarly, in case of OTT, somebody may argue that, look, it is a open internet, it is driven in an open internet, it is on best effort, therefore the quality of service may not be equal to that of the DTH platform. Fair argument. But with the technology which has become so good that with optical fiber cable, with so much amount of overcapacity, there is no question of the OTT there is no question of the OTT getting in any way, somehow, restricted, because the best effort thing, the capacity is so much, there is no way the things will get anyway restricted. Similarly, in case of 5G, there is another thing which is very important. In case of 5G, we have the capability to do slicing. The slicing of 5G application, because the capability of slicing allows you to prioritize those channels which are linear TV channels, which you want to prioritize over the ordinary internet channels. So if you have the capability to prioritize, then there is no question of any kind of problem of quality of service. So those things have to be defined clearly, right, in order to make the overall definition crisp and clear and without any ambiguity. So that is what we have missed, friends, in this whole effort to regulate the broadcasting sector. And that is why we are seeing the demise of the sector. And TRAI did not act when they had the opportunity of the new digital act, which was notified, to correct these deficiencies, which they have not done. Now they are struggling. Now they are basically looking at the whole thing again, how to deregulate the broadcasting sector. This is what they're trying to do. So this is not the way things should be done, right? You killed a particular sector. There are so many jobs which are going to get lost just because somebody wiggled their way around, because you really did not think through. So that is what the story, friends, which I wanted to say through this video. Though maybe there was another video which I did, may not be with that much amount of passion and clarity. So friends, now you understand, you can go through these two articles and you will understand that how messy that broadcast sector has been, and why the broadcast sector, all kind of tariff regulation and all kind of encumbrance which they have, the license fee structure, everything will fall apart, because OTT is the way to go forward, and people will be using their phones to watch linear TV and all kind of content, and therefore conventional broadcasting media will become as irrelevant as possible with future if nothing is done. And if you ask me, my final concluding comments is that there is no need to regulate the broadcasting sector. What you need to do is, you need to define the service precisely. If somebody is charging for some service, that look, I want to charge you for a television service, then you have to define that what you are charging for. And that definition has to come from TRAI, because somebody may give you a low quality product because of the absence of definition and will charge for a high quality product, right? So definition is very, very important. That's the minimum a regulator should do. Regulator did not be hand-holding each and every aspect of business. They have to be hands-off, and that is what ease of business is all about. Thank you, friends, for your time. I hope that you like this video. I will come back with a new video next time on a new topic. Thank you very much.